Hello, ladies. How are you? Oh my gosh, I am so excited to be here with all of you right now. It is currently 10 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I'm super excited. I will tell you, you will probably hear my daughter in the background. It's a weekend night, so she is up. So let's get this started. I know I've only got a brief amount of time with all of you. So I would love to know, as you're jumping on, how are you guys doing? How are you spending your evening, if it's evening where you are, or how are you spending your day? And we will get started here. Okay, so I'm Rebecca Branham. This is my first time coming in and doing a live stream here inside the Women Helping Women Entrepreneurs group. I am super excited. So I am a joy and freedom coach. I have a certification in health and lifestyle coaching, but I specialize in joy and freedom coaching, and I absolutely love it. So if you're wondering what the heck that is, that means I help women just like you and me find the joy in their life and figure out ways to become more expansive and free. And that usually looks like releasing the guilt and the self-doubt and stepping into the confident version of themselves. So I absolutely love that. So without further ado, we're going to be getting into the topic for the moment, which is I'm going to share with you my 3 tips to help you. Hi, Amy. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for the hearts. Oh. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys my top 3 tips for fitting more you time into your busy schedule, because I imagine, I don't want to assume, but I do imagine that if you guys are in this group, then you are busy women and you need to find ways to make the most of your time. Because if you're anything like myself, I have a service-based business. I can leak my energy all over the place if I am not careful with what I do, with the commitments I make, if I don't have clear, healthy boundaries in place for myself. So we're going to navigate some of this stuff today. So if you can relate to that, then give me some hearts to let me know if that is you. I would absolutely love that. And I also want to know, can you relate to feeling like you're constantly on the go? Like you're always just running around, like you just cannot find those few extra minutes of extra time. Or maybe you do have a couple minutes and you want to expand that to be 30 minutes or an hour, but you just can't seem to figure out how to navigate your current schedule so that you can allow that for yourself. So if that's you, you're in the perfect place. I will tell you where I'm coming from and why I can speak on this. I am a mom. Like I said, I have a 4-year-old girl. I have a 10-month-old little boy. I'm also a registered nurse. I work night shifts. So I navigate being a mom, being a wife, having a full-time business, having a full-time job, working crazy hours, and I still find time to take care of myself because I am the face of my business, just like all of you are. You guys are all the face and the creator. You guys are your business. And if you're not finding time, hi Danielle, thank you for saying hi. If you're not finding the time to truly take care of yourself and put yourself on the front burner instead of the back burner, then your business is not going to be as successful as it could be if you truly prioritized yourself. You are your number one asset and you have to treat yourself as such to be successful. If you have clients, then you have to model that behavior to them, just like I do with my clients. You know, our clients can only go as far as we are willing to go ourselves. So that's just that speaks for itself. Okay, so another thing I wanted to share with you is you are the person who controls your time. You. You are the one who says yes and no to the things that you allow into your life. That means you choose to say yes to things. When somebody asks you if you can take on another project, if you can take on another thing, whether that's in your personal life, if you can do this extra thing with your kids, it's ultimately up to you if you say yes or no. So if you just imagine your current schedule, have you overcommitted yourself? Have you allotted more than 24 hours in your day? And if you have, that's okay. I have been there. Trust me, I have been there. I have had to navigate this. So if that is you and you're constantly saying yes to the extra stuff and you find yourself overwhelmed or frustrated or anxious and not not sure how to fit everything in, then are you somebody who believes that the busier you are, the more successful you are? Do you believe that being busy is a status symbol? Do you feel that if you are not busy and you have just a few minutes to chill on the couch or to just play with your kids, that you're being lazy? And if you believe that, that's okay. It's gotten you to exactly where you are right now, and that is okay. Is it working for you if those are your beliefs? Or have you gotten to the place where you feel like it could be a little bit different and you know that things could be a little bit easier on yourself if you can make some small tweaks? Okay, I'm just looking at my notes here. So the biggest thing that I've recognized around those beliefs is that we've been trained to believe that the busier we are, the more successful we appear to other people. And I don't know about you, but I know growing up, I was taught to always do for others first, because other people, you treat people how you want to be treated. So if you want somebody to scratch your back, then you have to scratch theirs. However, that's not necessarily the case. They left out some key points in there that you have to be healthy enough to stand up and scratch somebody else's back. You have to even have the time to scratch somebody else's back. And if you're not taking care of yourself, then how are you supposed to do that? That's kind of like, I have another analogy that's kind of like a vase. It's, we'll get into that a different time. But with all of that being said, these are the 3 tips. Number 1 is you have to prioritize effectively. And I know you guys are, hi Kim, oh my gosh. I am so honored to have all of you on here with me right now. So tip number 1 of my 3 tips for fitting more you time into your busy schedule is you have to prioritize effectively. So currently, how are you prioritizing yourself? Where are you at on your priority list? How are you prioritizing your business? How are you prioritizing your, if you have kids, where do they fall? Where do all the household chores fall? Where do the school things fall? Where does all the stuff in your life fall on this priority list? If you don't know, I highly encourage you to write it out and get very clear on what that is, because in the majority of the time, we as women tend to throw ourselves at the very bottom if we even add ourselves to the list at all. So if you've ever, I think it's the book, I think it's in the book, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. I believe he says that you focus on your top 3 priorities. That's it. You don't have enough time in the day to focus on the entire list. And I know if you're here, you are ambitious and you've probably got a list of goals and intentions a mile long. I know I do. I'm still guilty of that. And that's okay. But you can't get to all of them. You also don't have enough decision power in your brain to even decide all the things effectively or efficiently to make the best decision to move you forward. Sometimes it's just like, it's kind of like throwing things at a wall. What's going to stick? You just end up doing the things just to get by. So what I always tell my clients is you need to have 3 priorities, and you have to be one of those top 3 priorities. I'm not going to say you have to be number 1 all the time. However, you do have to treat yourself like your number 1 asset. There's a difference there. So if you are your top 3 priorities, where do you fall on those top 3? If that feels really uncomfortable to even say that you are one of your top 3 priorities, good. You're stretching. You're growing. That's perfect. The reason I say 3 is because let's see, I'll use me as an example. I focus on myself, my business, and my family. And it's in that order. I have to take care of myself first before I come before I can show up for my family. I also come before I can show up for my clients and my business. So if I am not well rested, which is sometimes very hard working night shift, if I'm not well rested, then how can I expect to be a patient, kind, loving mom or a kind, loving wife if I'm freaking tired and cranky and pissed off about everything because I'm very short-tempered because I'm tired and I didn't sleep, or maybe I didn't drink enough water, or maybe I was tired so I didn't eat the best foods for my body, and now I'm feeling kind of gross and blah, and it's just not a good combination. It's the same for my business. I can't not take care of myself and expect my clients to have good results, or expect myself to be able to support them if I can't support myself first. So in my world, I'm number one. So what do your priorities look like? And are you clear on what your priorities are? And how are you currently, if you think of your day, if you were like this fly on the wall and you just watch yourself going throughout your day, doing the things that you do, what would you say your top 3 priorities are just by watching you as that fly on the wall? That will tell you where you're focusing. Maybe it's when you get up, you have to get your spouse's food ready for the day. Maybe you have to get your kids out the door. You have to get them dressed. You have to get their stuff packed up. Then you have to go to work, and then you have to do this and you have to do that. And then by the end of the day, you come back home and you're exhausted. And of course you don't want to do the other things. Maybe you tell yourself you're going to exercise when you get home, but you don't do it because you're tired. And then when you lay down, you put your head on the pillow, you're like, gosh, dang it, I didn't do that again today. I feel like such a failure. And then the guilt sets in, and then it's just like this vicious cycle because your priorities are not in order and you are not honoring them. Okay, so tip number 1, get clear on your priorities. Tip number 2, be honest about what you have over committed to. As women, sorry, my hair, I'm getting sweaty. I always get sweaty when I talk. Okay. Number 2 is being honest about what you have over committed to. We are women. We enjoy helping other people. That's what we're here for. We serve other people. Our businesses are to serve others. Of course we overcommit to things. Of course we want to be reliable when somebody else asks us, can they depend on us to show up for this? Or can they expect us to show up for that? Can we help with this thing? Can we help with that thing? Can you come over here? Can you stretch yourself so thin that you have nothing left to give? We are all guilty of it. So if you look at your schedule and be really honest with yourself, if you just look at the next week, what things have you over committed to? And these are the things that as you see it on your calendar, you're like, gosh, why did I do that? Why did I tell the person that I would do that? Or why did I decide I wanted to do this extra thing when I really don't have the time for it and I'm going to be driving like a crazy person to get from point A to point B? If that's how you feel about those things, then give yourself permission to reschedule or completely cancel it. And what I have found usually is behind this is a belief that if we tell somebody no, then they will be upset with us. And then we make it harder on them. But in reality, when we say yes, we're making it harder on ourselves, and we're also taking ourselves further away from the things that we truly do want. Every time you say no to something, you are getting closer to the yes that you truly desire, ladies. So can you be honest with yourself about where you have overcommitted yourself? So what I always like to have my clients do here is look at your calendar for the next week and find those little pieces, those places in your schedule where you feel that, it's just kind of like, I really don't want to do that. And remove it from your calendar. It gets to be that simple. And you don't have to justify that to anybody. Just because you don't want to do it, it's nobody else's business why you choose not to. That's a whole other conversation for another day. By the way, I'll come back and talk about that later. But justifying our answers is just opening the door up for a power struggle. Okay, so tip number 1 is getting clear on what your priorities are. Tip number 2 is being honest about what you've overcommitted to. And I challenge you to uncommit yourself from at least one thing in the next week and just see how good it feels to have that extra clear space on your schedule. And we've got one more tip. Let me look at your comments. Yes, these tips. Thanks, Kim. Yes, number 1 asset. Oh, thank you. Love that. Okay, ladies, thanks for hanging out with me this far. Tip number 3, our final tip for today, is to schedule dates with yourself. Yes, you get to schedule, I am sweating so bad. You get to schedule a date with yourself. And this gets to be the most important date of the week, date of the day, whatever your dates are. So for me personally, I intentionally, like yesterday, I got a facial, hence the reason I've got lots of red spots. I got a facial yesterday. I get a facial every 4 weeks and I absolutely love it, and I schedule that ahead of time. I do not walk out of that salon without having it scheduled. I get massages. I'm just trying to think of all the extra things. I schedule in my runs. I love running, which is weird because I used to have a love-hate relationship, but I schedule that ahead of time. I know when it's coming. I know when my quiet time is going to be because I have these things scheduled ahead of time. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't happen. I know a lot of us are like that. I imagine us to be anyways. So can you schedule time for yourself? Can you schedule just 5 minutes of doing nothing but being still with your mind and your body, just to reconnect and tune into yourself? And with this, if you are one of the people that you don't like to time block, which I completely understand, because some things I do like to do that with and some I don't, but if you're one of those people who you say you'll get to it later in the day and it just doesn't happen, or I feel like working out's a really good area for this. People say they'll work out in the mornings, and then before they know it, they're off doing the rest of their day, and then they go to work, and then they'll do it when they get home, and then they start getting busy with dinner and all the other things, and now it's right before bed, and they're like, yeah, I'll get to it tomorrow. You're not getting to it because you did not commit to it. You didn't make that promise to yourself. You didn't make the commitment to yourself. And one of the things with that is that we don't value ourselves enough to keep our promises to ourselves. If you made that date with a friend, you'd show up for your friend. If you made that date for your boss, you'd show up. If you made the date with your kid, you'd show up. So what is the difference between you keeping your promise and your commitment with somebody else versus yourself? It's because you respect that other person more than you respect your own time. That's what that comes back to. You respect somebody else more than you respect yourself. And that's okay sometimes. You've gotten yourself this far. But if you're wanting something to change, you have to get very honest with yourself and ask yourself, is that what's going on? Okay. And with that, your time will expand to the amount of time you allot to it. So for me, I give myself 30 minutes to do most things on my schedule because I know I function best in 30-minute increments, just like this call. It's 30 minutes. I know I can do that. If it's more than 30 minutes, I start to cringe, and then I dread it, and then I start pushing it off. The time we give to things, we can literally stretch and expand our time to fit into that little bubble of time we give ourselves, or we can shrink it down to something even smaller. But if we tell ourselves something like a project, if we say a project's going to take us 2 weeks, then you're damn straight it's going to take you 2 weeks to get that project done. Whereas if you say you've waited until the last minute and you've got to have this deadline met in 2 days, you're going to get all of it done and it's going to be great. And it's the exact same thing that could have taken somebody else 2 weeks. It's the difference. Your time will stretch and expand to the amount of time that you give to it. The same with your dates for yourself. Your self-care and you prioritizing yourself does not have to look like mine. It doesn't look like getting facials. It doesn't have to look like getting massages or exercising or anything. It can look like whatever that looks like for you. But if you're not scheduling it with yourself, then it's probably not going to happen. So I would love for you to drop in the comments what's something that you've been meaning to do that you haven't done. Have you been meaning to get a pedicure? Have you been meaning to get a new meditation pillow so you enjoy your meditation space again? Have you been meaning to try some new organic food or go to a new healthy store? Have you been the sky is the limit. I have a feeling there's probably something that every single one of you have been meaning to do for yourself, but maybe you haven't done it for one reason or another. So I challenge you to drop that in the comments if you feel called to, and then schedule it in your calendar within the next 7 days, so that you can see that you get to do this nice thing for yourself within the next 7 days, and you get to freaking enjoy it because it's for you. You get to enjoy doing those things for yourself. And doing this stuff for yourself does not mean that you are, what's the word? Like self-centered or greedy or whatever all the negative words are that most people tie to it outside of here. I feel like as I was growing up, I always heard that if you took care of yourself and did things like this, then that meant you were self-centered and you didn't care about other people. It meant you were selfish, and no, it's completely backwards. It's completely backwards. You are fueled to better serve other people if you're taking care of yourself and doing these things that naturally refuel you. So what are the things that light you up? I know I love pedicures. I love looking at my toes, and I love flip-flops. And it makes me really confident in myself. So of course I'm going to go get pedicures. That's actually something I've been working through, that pedicures felt weird. And now I know that. So now it's like, I'm getting a pedicure every couple of weeks. Something else, wearing clothes that make you feel good. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's just it comes back to your mindset and your beliefs around it. You deserve to feel good, ladies. And if you're not making the time to make more you time in your schedule, it's not going to happen. You're going to keep shoving yourself off until the next day, and then you're going to go to bed the next night and be like, why the hell does this keep happening? I don't get it. It's because you're in a habit cycle. That's it. This is a habit. I feel very confident in saying that you probably have attempted to do these things for yourself, and then you're about to do it, and then your brain loads up on, but you could be doing this, but you should be over here doing this, but it takes so much time. No, it doesn't. You're wasting more time arguing with yourself than it would take to just do the damn thing. It's just a habit to break. And it's going to feel uncomfortable. Of course it's going to feel uncomfortable to start doing these things for yourself. As we grow and we expand, we go through growing pains. It's just like my 10-month-old. He's teething. It feels like all the time. It's uncomfortable for him. It's uncomfortable for me too, because I don't sleep well. But it's uncomfortable for him because he is growing and becoming an infant, and then he'll be a toddler, and then he'll be this, and then he'll be that. But he has to physically go through the growing pains. It's the same thing with us. We have to go through the uncomfortable stages until that uncomfortable thing becomes comfortable, and that's our new baseline. And then we grow to the next level. Okay. All right, you guys. I believe that was everything I wanted to cover. Okay, that was it. If you all enjoyed this, let me know. I would also love to know, what was your number one takeaway from this today? What is something that you're going to try to implement in the next week? And are you going to actually commit to it and put it on your freaking schedule? I would love to know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, I've also got my Facebook business page is at Becca Branham Health. I'll come back and drop it in the comments soon. I've also got my free Happy Healthy Mom group here on Facebook. I will drop that link in the comments as well. And that is specifically for the moms who desire to be happy, healthy, and free in their life and be confident in who they're being and what they do, and they are role modeling that to their kids, because our kids learn from us, from our actions. So that is it for the day. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I've completely enjoyed this. I'm super excited to be back next week. I will create a post on whenever that will be next week, but I will come back and drop my business page and my mom group in the comments. So thank you all so much. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.